We're now in Dcad lesson 21G, and we're continuing with structure. And I'm looking at the floor plan where we left off during our last lesson, and we were dealing with window headers. And I still need to place a header over this entry door on the east side of the upper floor, and also need to deal with a header over this bathroom window. So I'll just deal with this door header first and zoom up on that area using this hitting Z. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to steal this header, or borrow, or actually duplicate the header over this window here. And so I'm going to select it, and I'm also going to hold down Shift and select RB1 because I just want to use this text. And I'm going to put a handle right here at the inside edge of the south edge of the window itself. So click on Set Selection Handle, right click to that area, and hit the scroll button to initiate the command. Hitting N to duplicate, and I'm going to go up here and right click to the inside south edge of the door. And you can see that the header needs to extend on past the door opening here another 1.5 inches to fully bear on the trimmer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Escape, and I'm going to select this header, and I'm going to use the extend command, which is Shift dash, and up here you can see where it says it's checked for selected entities only, and I'm going to click on the selected header here and just left click on it, and you can see a little black thin line, and it kind of goes, I can extend it on down or up if I want. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab and move to this north edge of the door using the comma, and then I'm going to go to point relative, and I'm going to go hit tab to go to the Y dimension, and I'm going to go minus 1.5 inches. And then right here you can see where it says last point. I want to actually be from the last cursor position, and I'm going to click OK. And you can see that the header is extended on down now. This will be 1.5 inches. I'll show you right there. You can see 1.5 inches. Hit Control Z to erase it. Now I'm going to call this header RB2. So I'm calling up the info box and selecting the 1 and just hitting 2 to change that. And while I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and deal with the window header for the bathroom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cheat a little bit more, hit Z for zoom back up here again, and select this header and select its name, RB2. And I'm going to set a point at its upper or south interior corner of the door there. And just right click on that and hit the scroll button to initiate the command. Now I'm going to hit N to duplicate. N, and just duplicate one right on top of the other. Now the other, you can still see the handle here and the points. You can barely see them. But so now we have two headers and two header names, one on top of the other. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rotate the selected one because it's still selected. I'm going to hit R to rotate and hit Tab, and the rotation angles will be 180 degrees. And I'm going to hit, I'm just going to hold down Control and use my scroll button to scroll out a little bit. And you can see the original, we have a header here, and this one been rotated now. Now I'm going to zoom up over here to the bathroom window and hit M for move. And I'm going to just right click at this north interior edge of the window here. And right click snaps to it. Now the header itself, I'm going to actually I'm hit Escape to deselect and move this RB2. That's going to be changed. Actually, I'm going to rotate that. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll leave it like it is. I'm going to change it to RB3 though. That's going to be our new header designation for the bathroom window. And then also I'm going to move it on down a little bit, kind of center it. M, and just hit the like so, and hit the 0 or insert key to set a point, and there we go. So now I'm going to select this header, and I'm going to use the extend command again, and again that's Shift dash, and which means underline, you know. And I'm going to left click on or near this header that's selected, and just left click about in here somewhere, and you can see now my extension line, it goes down or up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come to this inside edge of the window and just gravity move using a comma. And now I'm going to point relative again. I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to go 1.5 inches. It'll be 1.5 inches up now, or in the southerly direction. And so now you can see our header, an inch and a half, it's bearing over an inch and a half past the window, so it's full bearing on its trimmers that are supporting the header. So I can hit escape. And so now we have our upper floor headers there. These are structural headers. We're going to, above the bathroom door and above the closet, those are non-bearing. So we can just, use like a 4x4 or a couple of 2x4s, one on edge. There's a zillion different ways to make non-bearing headers just to have some nailing for the sheetrock and trim. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do trapezoidal load on this window, because this is a gable end here, and you see this is our roof ridge right here, and our trusses are bearing out to out on both the south wall and the north wall. So what we're going to have along this east wall is a gable truss, and a gable truss is not going to be bearing out to out like the other trusses. It's designed to carry gable siding, and it's basically going to bear right along this wall here as if it was stick frame, pretty much, just as if it was a stick frame gable wall. So I'm going to hit Control W and pull my info box out of the way here, and I'm going to kill the lines layer, hide it for momentarily. L, and that's 20. Let me scroll up here a little bit. Let me change this to active or named layers only. It'll hide a whole bunch of layers that way. I'm just going to turn the light out on 20 here and click OK. So now what I want to do is, and this is our upper floor area up here, looking at it in elevation or section drawing, either one. And here's our door and our window next to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit L for layers, and this would be on that side, on that east side, or as we're looking at the drawing on the left side, that would be layer 47 for the elevation. And I have not changed these from the original garage plans yet, so we'll do that some other day. So I'm selecting layer, or actually opening layer 47, clicking on the lock and unlocking it, and clicking actually I'm going to make that my current active layer and lock everything else, and click OK, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be stealing some roof, so to speak. So this roof was designed for the garage when it was just going to be a single-story garage, and this lower red line here, this one that I'm going to zoom up on that a little bit so I can see it a little better. So here's our floor line here, and this is the ceiling line. This is actually the top of our finished floor for the upper floor, and our ceiling line for the upper floor. So if I select this roof, and I've turned everything else off, I select this roof right now, and it's going to only select that because I locked all the other layers when I was looking at the layer dialog. And I'm going to set a handle on the lower floor ceiling, using set selection handle here, and then right click to this area right here, and then hit the scroll button to initiate the command. And now I'm going to hit M for move, and just bring it on up to where it's going to go, and right click on this one, and so that's going to be its new position. So I hit escape to unselect, and that is where our roof's actually going to be. So I can get really cheesy here. Well, we don't get too cheesy. Hit Z for zoom, and I'm in layer 47 still, so I can go ahead and just extend these lines up, or actually I'm going to hit I'm going to leave them in red, I think, and just hit V for vector on these outside lines, and right click to it and hit H, and just come on up a ways and do the same. Ooh, that's the wrong kind of line. Let me fix my line here. Look at this. I'm going to go to 0, 0, and I'll change the line weight and all type and all that later. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and apply to selection. Okay, so now I'm just going to hit parallel, which is the equal sign. Click on the selected item, and you can see up here it's the check mark. The checkbox is checked for selected entities only. So I'm going to come on up here, and I'm hitting H to go out of orthogonal mode, and I'm just going to come up here to this south wall line and right click there. So you can see I have a couple of extensions on up for our wall line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hit E and trim this to the bottom side of the roof. Hit E and trim this one to the bottom side of the roof, and that is in our left elevation, or in this case, our east elevation layer. So what I'm going to do now is we have this weird shapes here that we're going to have to deal with structurally, and we already know, we've already calced the header, actually we know the window size is 3050, and zoom out and confirm that. Yeah, 3050 single hung, and so we're clear on all that, and we've actually done the headers. So I've just realized that this is going to be the same kind of header, and I'm going to use that header designation, or actually I'm going to change that header designation, and I'm going to rename these headers. Okay, so I'm going to make this one RB2. Oh, I gotta go to layers and unlock all. Click OK. And Control R to regenerate. And so I want this one to be RB2, because it's going to be a different type of calculation than our RB1, even though it's the same size. We're assuming it's going to be the same size. So I'm going to change this one now to RB2. I've selected the text there, and I'm going to highlight the 1 and just replace that with a 2. And this one's going to become RB3. Select the 2 and type in a 3. And this one's going to be RB4. So I select a 3 and hit 4, and then just click somewhere to initiate all of that. So here's what I have. What we're going to be dealing with is a trapezoidal load, and because the header is basically dealing with everything above it, it's carrying the loads above it. We have a barge rafter overhang and roof frame and that sort of thing. So we have roof loads, but we also have a wall load that we want to deal with. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hit Control W and go on out here so we can see our left elevation. I'm hitting Z for zoom, and just so I can see the 2 of these. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom up on this window, because we're just going to do the window initially. Hit Z for zoom, go to this window, and on the lower side, or the north end of this header, I'm going to hit V for vector and right click to it. Control W. And now I'm going to go down. I'm going to hit H for orthogonal mode. You can see it up here. And come on down to the header height. That's this blue dashed line right here. I'm just going to get kind of near it and hit K. And then I'm going to hit my scroll button to initiate the command. And so now what I've done is I've extended a line that's straight. Control R to get rid of the artifacts, from the north edge of the window header all the way on down to the header height. And now what I'm going to do is I'm hit Z and zoom up to this window again and select that particular line. And I'm going to hit E equals for the parallel command. And so I'm hitting equal sign. And again, it's set selected entities only. So all I need to do is click on or near that line and bring it on up to the south end of our header. And you can see it right here. I'm going to right click right there. And so now we have 2 lines coming down. I'm going to hit escape to unselect and Control W. And now we're going to zoom out to this area right here. And so you can see that we're coming down all the way to our blue dashed header height line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this line, and I'm going to hold down Control, and you'll see my cursor turn into a little pair of scissors. And just up here a little ways above the roof, I'm just going to left click and cut it. And I'm selecting this one and hitting Control, and again my cursor turns into scissors. And I'm going to left click and cut that line. So now we have, you can see from the point here, we have these are separate lines. So what I'm going to do is hit E and trim this line to the top of the roof. H to go out of orthogonal mode. So I've hit E to trim to the top of the roof there, and you can see it trimmed that line to the top of the roof, and hit E again for the other one, trim to the top of the roof. So now I have 2 specific lines that will give me the specific amount of wall height that I'm dealing with for each side of this header, or each end of this header. So I'm going to hit Control W. And now I'm going to call up a spreadsheet and go to File, and I want New, and I'm going to call up a calc sheet. And calc sheet right here, and double click on that, open it up, and that's let's see, job code D0604, and the member is D0604 RB-3. No, I forgot which RB dash is it. Zoom RB-2. Okay. So I'm going back to my spreadsheet, and RB-2, got that, and it's a beam, so I'm just making that dark, and it's a roof beam, so I'm making that dark, and location is D0604 RB-2 east window header. Okay, and member length is, let me go check it. I'm just going to select it and call it my info box, and it should be 3'3", and sure enough, 3.25 is 3'3". So back to my spreadsheet, getting rid of this other one, and member length is 3.25, and spans 3.25, bearing location 0 and 3.25, all pretty straightforward. So now let's look at our loading. I'm going to click back on the drawing, and basically the loads that we're dealing with on this particular header are roof loads. So I'm going to zoom up here a little bit. Roof loads for the barge overhang, and then the roof loads for the interior trusses. So I'm going to hit L and see if I still have my roof framing from the old garage, because that'll help me cheat a little here. Roof framing, layer 36. Okay, I'm just going to click on that because it's going to be basic, and open that up. It's going to be basically the same roof framing, only another floor above. So you can see here that our trusses are on 24-inch centers, and so we have a 2-foot barge overhang here, and our spacing of our trusses is 2 foot on center. So the actual amount of roof loading that this header is dealing with is 2 feet for the barge overhang and 1 foot, because this truss here is dealing with the other half. So halfway between these two trusses is the loading that this header is dealing with. So if this is 2 feet, the header is only dealing with 1 foot, because this truss here is dealing with the other 1 foot of loading. So we have a total of 3 feet of loading, basically 2 feet for the barge overhang and 1 foot coming in from the truss. So from the gable truss. So our loading is pretty simple. For that, we're just going to hit type in roof. Live is 30 pounds per square foot. Dead is 20 pounds per square foot. Load type is for here is PSF, pounds per square foot. And spacing 1 is 2 feet. That's the barge overhang. And spacing 2 is 1 foot. And that's the interior overhang. And the duration is 1:15 for a snow load, if I can type. Okay. So that takes care of that. This is actually pretty easy for us to calc out, because it's really easy for us to calc out the live and dead loading, and for the whole enchilada there. So we're not going to get too crazy about actually calculating out the header tonight. What we're going to deal with is dealing with how is the actual loads themselves, what they look like, and how they're bearing on that header. So an easy way to deal with this is, so we have a total spacing of 3 feet here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually insert here, and I have to unlock, protect the sheet. I'm going to insert another row to move these guys down. Yeah, okay. And so now I'm going to do a little formula here and just type in equals this plus this, and then times this. Should be 90. Oop. Well, let me do a couple of forgot my old math, Okay, now we'll try it. There we go, 90. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. That's our total of our live loads for the whole 3 feet of tributary. And so once again, we're going to, this time I'll actually use the parentheses. and it equals left parentheses 2, and then plus 1 parentheses, and then times the 20. It should be about 60. Sure enough. Okay, so we have that all taken care of. So our total live load per linear feet of the roof load is going to be 90 pounds per linear foot, and dead load along that header for the roof is going to be 60 pounds per linear foot. So now let's deal with the wall load. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up an additional spreadsheet called wall weights, and I'm going to click on new and here and go on down to wall weights, and here we are, and we'll click that to open that up, because we're going to want to be able to calculate our trapezoidal dead loads for the wall. So now, and this I'm not going to fill in because I'm not even going to keep it. I'm going to click on the drawing here, scoot over here to the window, and Control W. Always with beams, beams are designated from the left to the right, just like the text would be, just like we read, and if it's a horizontal, and if it's vertical on the drawing, we go from bottom to top, or if you'd be facing the left. So that way helps us keep track of things. So the beam's always going to be designated in one of those two directions. So so what we're going to do is zoom back up on this area here, and so the first wall load will be this portion here, because we're moving from bottom to top along this vertical axis. So I click on that, I look in the info box, and it says it's 3.5221. I'll just select that and Control C to copy it. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet here, my wall weight spreadsheet, and I'm going to plug that in because it's a hardy plank wall, 2/6 studs that are spaced 24 inches on center, so this is all relevant. And I'm going to just Control V where that 8 is. And so that tells me that my wall weight per linear foot is 33.85 pounds. That's 33.85 pounds per linear foot. So I can just copy that, Control C, and go to my load here and type in left end, or let's call it left end. Left wall load. And type of load is T for trapezoidal. Oops. Okay. Try that again. T. And begin is 0 and end is 3.25. Live load, there is no live load, it's a wall. Dead load is 30. Let me go back to here. 33.85 and Control C. Try that again. And dead load begin is okay. Got kind of carried away there. I'm going to format that cell and make it a number. Okay, so it's only carrying out 2 decimal places. And okay, so that's our left side dead load. DL stands for dead load left, and this will put our dead load. Actually, this just needs to be wall load. Okay, and so and duration is going to be 90. Could be 100, but we'll go with 90. Okay, so now we're going to get our right side, our other end, and again, there's not going to be any live load at all, so that's 0. But our dead load on the upper portion, we're going to take a look at that drawing and see how long that is. And so that is 4.6054. I'm going to select that, Control C, back to my spreadsheet, my wall weights, and set that into wall height now. Control V. And so now our pounds per linear foot on that upper portion is 42.34 pounds per linear foot. So I'm going to select that, Control C, and go back to our calc sheet and paste that in. and I want this to be the same. We go back to the home here and use the format painter to, and that is also going to be PLF, pounds per linear foot. So now we know that we know what our roof loads are. They're 90 pounds live load per linear foot along the header and 60 pounds dead load per linear foot along the header. And we have trapezoidal loads of, at the low end on the north end of the header, 33.85 pounds per linear foot, and at the upper portion it's going to be 42.34 pounds per linear foot. So now we have an idea of what this load area is and the differences between this portion and this portion, so that we can actually calculate out this this header. So I'm going to save real quick here. So this concludes Dcad lesson 21G, dealing with structure, and we'll actually calc the beam in the next lesson.